pinned down on his bunk in the hole when he was asleep. What are you going to do? You got a knife to you.
I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up and make a statement.
You know, in my 29 years in prison, I've seen a lot of guys come in who thought they was tough and break down. Sometimes a couple of them just in a couple of days, some of them a month or so. So if you think you're tough, but you're really not, you really should listen to this. You know, I ain't addressing this to the actual tough people who come to prison, because there are some that are tough before they even get to prison. I'm talking about the ones who think they're tough, and they get to prison, they find out either mentally they're not tough enough, physically they're not tough enough, and they're not ready for the violence or anything like that. First of all, this to the young people. Keep messing up. Keep thinking prison's all fine and glory and all that. It's not. It's nothing to brag about. You go to prison, you're going to lose your phone. You won't be on social media every day. Unless you have a phone smuggled into you, then you got a chance of getting caught. Maybe you can use somebody else who has a phone, but they're going to charge you out the ass for it. You're going to miss out on birthdays, holidays, no Christmases with your loved ones, with your family. It's like somebody said, when you walk out in that yard for the first time, your parents and your lawyer is not with you. It's just you. First thing you have to, it's a mental aspect at first. Change will happen to you gradually. If you're tough enough mentally and physically, you'll become a convict. But a lot of you guys that I've noticed out here, young people, that's putting on an act. Ex-cons can tell when somebody's putting on an act. A lot of you guys ain't tough. You won't make it. You're either going to break down mentally, or you're going to be challenged physically. They call it heart check, some people do, and you're going to back down. I've had young people tell me, man, if I was in prison, somebody came after my cheeks, I'd do this, I'd do that to them. No, you won't. What are you going to do? You know, it doesn't matter how big you are or how tough you are. I know one guy, this happened after I got out, I know one guy, and this guy was a solid guy. Nothing happened to him the whole time I was in prison. Somebody told me about it. Of course, I'm just going by hearsay, but he was pinned down on his bunk in the hole when he was asleep. What are you going to do? You got a knife to you. Yeah, you kids don't think about that, do you? I'll do this, I'll do that. No, you won't. And each situation is different. The first thing you got to do, if you're mentally strong enough to make it for the first month or two, then you're only going to get stronger mentally. Same way with the physical violence. You're going to get used to the violence if you can make it. But I've seen guys who ended it because they couldn't make it. I've seen things happen to guys. This was at the Missouri State Penitentiary, and he ended it. I remember when I got to Algoa, you know, after my level dropped, I got a date and my level dropped, and they go in, they took each of us in there and made us watch a stupid ass film and that we'd seen before when we first got to prison. Now I'm about ready to go out the door and they're showing it to me again. And I realize I've been 29 years in maximum security prisons, and now I'm in a level 1, a low security prison. And they take each of us in a room individually and telling us that things could happen to us. And they're talking about, you know, cheeks getting busted. I said, I made it 29 years in a level 5. I said, if it happens to me in a level 1, you better get some body bags. Now that comes after 29 years of doing time. When I first got to prison, I was scared shitless. I ain't gonna lie. It's just one of those things that after you realize, you know, I had a life sentence, and I came to the realization, I got a life sentence, they may not get out. Nobody better say anything crazy to me, better not do anything crazy. You know, that mindset, me having a life sentence probably is the reason I made it, if that makes sense. But a lot of people, they don't make it. But you got all kinds of things to worry about. You got guards telling you what to do, when to do it. And as you get older, now they can become COs as soon as they get out of high school. As you get older, like 30 or whatever, you look back, you know, man, this young punk, 18 years old, telling me what to do. When I first got to prison, I think it was 22 or 23, you had to be a CO. But when I got in my 30s, I'm looking back, man, This kid ain't gonna tell me what to do. You know, I hated that. Didn't really so mind the older COs. But the young ones, it got on my nerves. And then there's the monotony. Same faces, day in, day out, week in, week out, month in, month out, year in, year out. Yeah, there'll be some changes, you know, people getting transferred, new people coming in. That's a gradual thing over time. When I got out, there was very few people left in prison than when I first went in. Or at least they wasn't in where I was at. But it happened gradually over time. I want to tell you kids something. You're not ready for prison, and you don't need to be in prison. You need to be out here enjoying your life, you know, being with your family and loved ones and friends and stuff like that, enjoying this. I have a greater appreciation now that I'm out of prison for all this. It's not too much I worry about, not too much I complain about, because it could be a lot worse, people. Like I said, prison's not a badge of honor. It's not anything to glorify or brag about. I mean, I hate the fact that I was in prison. And you know, and anytime I'm around anybody for any length of time, new people, I tell them that I'm in prison. I feel that it's fair that they should know. You know, that's being fair to them. They have a right to know. Especially when I first got out, it's hard to tell them. Yeah, I went to prison for taking out my brother's abuser, but it's nothing that I'm happy about. I mean, I'm glad he made it. I mean, he passed 8 months before I got out, but what I'm saying, he went on and had a family and everything else, and I'm glad of that, but I just wish that I could or would have done it a different way. I've heard so many other people say the same thing about, you know, there's one guy, young guy come in, he was my cellie for a while. They put him in a cell. My cell, he went to the hole, so they put him in my cell. You know, he was scared and everything at first too, but after he got to know me, he got to talking more, and he said, you know what, I deserve to be here. He goes, I'm not liking it, but he said, he goes, I don't mean to brag or anything, but I come from a well-to-do family, and I was always getting in trouble. And my dad told me, he said, next time you get in trouble, I'm not going to help you. I've helped you enough. He said, I didn't believe him. Because I believe he was just, he said, I thought it was an empty threat. He said, I kept doing what I was doing, and then I got arrested and charged. He said, part of the reason is they would have never found me, but my people I was committing these crimes with, they told on me. And I said, was you the ringleader? He goes, no. He goes, there wasn't no ringleader. He said, we was just all kind of doing this together. But he said, my dad kept his word. I tried to get him bail. He would come and see me. He'd come and visit me. But he said, I tried to get him to make bond for me. He wouldn't do it. He said he did give me a lawyer, but he said that's about all he did for me. He said he didn't talk to people or anything like that. And he goes, he told me, he said, son, let this be a lesson to you. If you go to prison, he said, I want to think about your actions and what you've done. You've hurt other people. He goes, include not just your family, but the community. He goes, you know, he goes, I love you and I will always love you, but you need to straighten up and become a man. He said, he told me I needed to become a man instead of a kid running around. He goes, I was mad at him for a long time. He goes, but I've been doing some thinking. He goes, he's right. He said, so I'm going to try to do the best I can, better myself best I can in here, and get out, and hopefully my father will be proud of me. You know, that I've changed. My family will be glad I changed. And this guy, he was just sick, you know, like a lot of us. Some people get mad around holidays. That's because they're trying to cover up their emotions. They don't really want to cry. It was the holidays, man. Sometimes my family would want to come to see me on Christmas or something. I said, man, don't come to see me on Christmas. You guys spend that time, enjoy Christmas. I said, I will call. And they'd visit either before Christmas or right after Christmas. But I'd call them on Christmas, and it'd just tear me up, you know, just not just hearing our voices, but a lot of times my mom was crying. You young people need to think about this. You really do. And 'cause I don't want to see anybody go to prison. And I know what it does to families and friends when you go to prison. I may get one of my family members on camera one time and ask them, or one of my friends, even my friends, and have them tell you, they hated seeing me go to prison. Many of them lost faith in the justice system, but that's beside the point. Going to prison is not fun. It's nothing to brag about. I'm going to say that over and over. Now, there's some people in the inner cities, they go to prison, they're going to meet up with their homies and stuff. But you guys out here in these small towns are going to be alone. Surrounded by a bunch of people, but alone. You understand what I'm saying? It's the weirdest feeling to be surrounded by a bunch of people and be alone. So I try to not think about the outside too much. That will drive you crazy, people. If you go to prison and think about the free world, your family and stuff 24/7, every day, all day, it will drive you insane. I've seen it happen to people. The only times I would think about them is when they visited, when I called them, or when I got a letter from them. But I didn't spend all day thinking about the outside world. No. I wanted to keep my sanity. The world will keep moving. The world goes on as you're sitting in that prison. Many people, some people you thought was friends, will forget about you. Some of them did me. Not all of them, but some of them. And then when I get out, they wanted to be friends again. But I don't blame them. It's one of those things where they got lives. They got families. They grew up, and had families of their own and stuff, and had kids going to school and stuff. They're going to work and stuff. They ain't got time to be worrying about Harvey in prison. And they ain't the same way with you. If you guys go to prison, they're not going to be thinking about you. So, you try to call them and you can't get a hold of them. It might be because they're busy. Anyway, I hope this is gets across to somebody. I really do. I thank you for watching.